What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you've already binged Spider-Noir on Prime Video, you already know this show is something special. A gritty, Depression-era superhero noir with Nicolas Cage as Ben Reilly, the Spider. It's unlike anything else out there right now. And of course, the big question everyone's asking after that season finale is, are we getting a season 2? Let's break down everything we know: the release window, the cast changes, the plot directions, and even a possible Spider-Verse connection. Show overview. So for anyone who needs a quick refresher, Spider-Noir, developed by Oren Uziel, follows Ben Reilly, a private detective by day and the elusive Spider by night. After a traumatic incident, Ben gave up the mantle and now wanders the streets of Depression-era New York, barely scraping by with clients. But when he gets pulled into a mystery way above his pay grade, one involving the city's towering crime boss Silvermane and his crew of superhumans, Ben has no choice but to pick up the mask one more time. Season 1 finale recap. Season 1 wraps up with Ben defeating Silvermane and returning Flint, also known as Sandman, back to his pre-powers self. With that, the friendly neighborhood hero is back, promising to keep fighting for as long as he can. It's a satisfying ending, but it absolutely leaves the door open for more. Season 2 release window. Now, as of right now, Prime Video has not officially confirmed a second season. However, and this is exciting, producers Phil Lord and Christopher Miller have both expressed genuine interest in continuing Ben's story. So a season 2 feels more like a when than an if. In the best case scenario, we're looking at a release sometime between 2028 and 2029. Plot details: World War II storylines. So where could Season 2 go story-wise? Well, a new villain would almost certainly take center stage, and there's a very compelling direction the show could take, tying the narrative to World War II. Season 1 is set around the peak of the Prohibition era, so we're still a few years out from the war in the show's timeline. But here's the thing. In the comics, Spider-Noir stories are frequently set around Ben taking on the Nazis, which gives the creators a ton of material to work with. The catch? Ben is already depicted as an aging, out-of-prime superhero from the very beginning of the show. Another time jump could create some real logical headaches. And since the show uses World War I as the origin point for Ben, they might choose to skip the World War II storylines entirely. But that would mean giving up a massive chunk of the Spider's rogues gallery. It's a tough call for the writers. Plot details, new story directions. The Season 1 finale also sets up some really interesting changes for the supporting cast. Most notably, Janet is now Ben's partner in the private investigation business, which means the two of them are likely going to be working the next big case together. And given how much this show loves its noir mystery vibes, Season 2 might lean more into a detective storyline rather than a full-on action-heavy one, which honestly could be really compelling. There are also some intriguing threads left dangling. In the comics, Silvermane has a son, Joseph Manfredi, who is a supervillain in his own right. And Season 1 already teases Osborn Enterprises, which makes sense because Norman Osborn is frequently depicted as a mob racketeer in the Spider-Noir comics. Both of those threads could make for seriously gripping storylines as Ben continues searching for meaning in increasingly murky waters. Cast: who's returning and who's not. Okay, let's talk cast, because this is where things get interesting. The one thing fans can be almost certain about is that Nicolas Cage is coming back as Ben Reilly. A Spider-Noir Season 2 without Cage is basically unthinkable. Karen Rodriguez as Janet Ruiz and Lamorne Morris as Robbie Robertson are also both expected to return. But from there, things get a lot more murky. Lee Jun Lee, who plays Kat Hardy, and Jack Houston, who plays Flint Marko, both of their characters leave New York by the end of Season 1, so neither is likely to return for a second season. On the villain side, Brendan Gleeson's Silvermane and Andrew Lewis Caldwell's Dirk Layden, aka Megawatt, both meet their end in the finale, so neither of them will be back either. The more interesting wildcard is Abraham Popula's Lonnie Lincoln, who skips town after losing his powers. He may not be a villain anymore, but Lonnie Lincoln is still very much a part of Spider-Man canon, so there's a lot of room to bring him back in some capacity. And of course, expect fresh faces as new antagonists, especially with the shadow of an upcoming world war looming over the story. Ben's ongoing struggle. Any Season 2 worth its salt has to address the core emotional question hanging over Ben. Can he ever find peace as the Spider? He's had his heart broken twice. He's dealing with a persistent alcohol addiction that causes him to spiral. And on top of all that, the bartender and the people Ben beat up are probably well aware by now that he's the Spider, so there's serious damage control ahead. But here's the hopeful flip side. The fact that Kat and Flint are now free to live their lives again might be exactly the reminder Ben needs for why he keeps pushing himself to the limit. That tension between self-destruction and purpose is what makes this character so compelling to watch. And finally, the big one. Could Season 2 address whether Spider-Noir is connected to the MCU or the Spider-Verse? Because at the very start of the show, Ben makes a direct reference to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which only really makes sense if Ben is the Spider-Noir we meet in that film. But there are contradictions, mismatching timelines, references to color in what's supposed to be a black and white universe, things that don't quite line up. A second season could potentially clear all of that up and connect Ben to a story much, much bigger than his own. And there's clearly still a lot about Ben's past we don't know yet, which gives the creators plenty of room to flesh out both the Spider and the man behind the mask. So that is everything we know about Spider-Noir Season 2 so far. The potential release window, the cast shakeups, the World War II comic connections, and that possible Spider-Verse link. It's a lot to be excited about. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Prime Video will pull the trigger on Season 2? And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more breakdowns just like this one. See you in the next one.